Hi everyone, welcome. Ryan here from the London Craftsman channel. How's it going? Today we're making a console table, or shall I say we've been in the middle of making a console table. It's a really narrow console table. It's about 250 deep only, by about 1400 long. We've got tapered legs and it's oak veneer, so when we spray it and we give it the painted finish, we're going to get the grain showing through. What I'll do is I'll spin the camera around and I'll go through all the construction processes and all bits and pieces of how we got to this stage right now. We decided to make out of oak veneer MDF because everything was so tiny. Oak veneer is totally fine. The only downside to that is when it came to fixing all the components together, we had to use pocket screws and just make sure we didn't split the MDF out. So this is what we're making. It's 1.4 long. It's 250 or 240 deep. The customer didn't want it any deeper. The downside with that is that we couldn't use our usual side mounted runners. The shortest runners that they do in those 44mm wide runners that we usually use were just too long. We've got about 230. The shortest runners they do is 250. So we've had to use these little ones, and I ran it past the customer and she's absolutely fine with that. They're only diddy little drawers. They're about 200 deep, maybe a little bit less, by about 250. Got two of them. So we designed it in a way so when we put the legs in the corners, we can fix through the back in both ways to be able to fix that leg in place. So if I grab a leg, which are these are the tapered legs. If you want to see how we tapered these, we've got a video for that. Should be up in the corner right now if you want to see. And they're just simply going to go in the corner like so. Sorry, one-handed today, Sean's busy. So that is the way it's going to be. And we've created a little shadow gap there. We've also got the top as well. So this top has got a little rebate in. We put a brass strip in that as well. So I've masked it up so when I spray it, it doesn't clog up the channel. But I've also got a video on how we did that groove. So everything, like I said, is oak veneer. We've used 18mm on most things, and we've also put a rebate around the whole entire top here. So when it sits on top, we've got a nice joint basically between the components. So that's the way it's going to look. And it's a little bit out of square here at the moment until we screw the top to the actual carcass. That will square it up. But you can see the rebate here. So this is a fixed fascia. These two are obviously opening and that one is fixed. But we create this little recess here for the leg to sit in. And we've got, like I said, the shadow gap there, we've got a shadow gap here, and we've got a shadow gap here. So there's our leg. That is going to sit in that corner like so. So that is our detail. Again, I'm just rigging this up. Once it's all screwed up and it's all painted, it should all come together nicely. But that's our detail there. This was the drawing that we worked to. Again, very diddy. So we've got an overall of 260 depth in total and an overall of 1410 in length. We put these little ribs in the center to give it a little bit more strength. We made it with these little corners taken out so they take the legs, just to make the legs as easy as possible to fit, because we can screw through both sides to fix that leg in place. And this is our cutting list from the drawings and the sizes that we've got. It says there legs softwood, but we ended up making them out of birch ply. Grand scheme of things, I wish I made them with softwood because it would have made tapering the legs that little bit easier. If you watch that video, I'll explain to you why it would have been so much easier using softwood over the birch ply, because I had to make a tapering jig for these anyway. Once these drawers go in, then the fascia will cover the end grain of those drawers. We've got two fascias here. That fascia should just sit in like so. We obviously had to create another 3mm gap between the rebate. So you've got the rebate on the top to give you the shadow gap, this rebate here. But we also had to just create another 3mm gap to allow that drawer to open and close. So we've allowed 3mm, 3mm and 3mm, and that is the detail. The reason that we used oak veneer is that when you spray it, you're going to see that grain through it. We've made loads of doors like this before, like wardrobe doors, where the customer says, I want to see a wood effect. We like to use oak veneer and spray it. But beware, if you are spraying, you're going for a light colour, because the oak has got oils in it. If you're spraying white over a couple of weeks, you'll probably notice how the oils are going to come through and it won't look brilliant white anymore. It will sort of like go golden colour. So be careful on that. If you are spraying a light colour, just make sure that you spray it with an oil-based paint or an oil-based stain blocker or something like that first, a little mist coat with an aerosol or something like that, to stop those oils bleeding through. I'm literally ready to spray, get this looking nice. It's going a khaki green colour. Yeah, looking forward to seeing it transform into something. It never looks great until it's all put together. All these components just look a little bit random and don't look great at the moment, but once it's painted and assembled, I'm sure it'll all come together. At the end, we got these handles here that she's chosen from Plank. A nice little place to buy your handles, Plank. So what I'm gonna do now is take it into the spray room and give it a first coat of the khaki green colour. Right, so everything's been painted now. As you can see, we've got the top and we've put the strip in. Do you remember us routing this in? We've got a video on routing that strip in. We've got the shadow gap there. Can you see a little rebate all the way around, create a nice joint? And Sean's got the carcass now because we're going to attach the carcass to the top. If I flip this over for Sean, there's the strip, that's the back and the underside, and Sean's going to place the carcass on with the front forwards and the underside up. And you can see now the details that we're trying to achieve, because we didn't want a square edge up against, you know, whenever you fit two components up against each other, you'd never get a great joint. So a shadow gap is a perfect way to finish. It's a bit like our bench, and this is what we're trying to achieve. Can you see this detail? We used 18mm for this, so we used 18, but then we clad it. You see the 6mm first that we put on underneath, all the way around first, and that ultimately created our shadow gap. Right, so we're nearly there. Sean's put the drawers in, and we clamped that division where it needed to be because we placed the fascia on to make it sure that it was flush here at the front. So we clamped that there, and then we were able to make the rest of that front fascia, the fixed fascia flush, and he's just putting the rest of the screws in now. So that is ready now. I think we're ready to flip it over and see what it's like and see what we've got before we put the legs on. Yeah, sorry about the audio. It's typical. Every time I'm doing an important video, it does that. This is what we've got so far. I'm going to touch up the bottom of these drawers just with a brush just to make them green. But other than that, we've got the main carcass together. These fascias are just going to be placed in now. And I put them on 3mm spacers. And this is what we're going for. So that's my next job. So there we have it, all done, finished piece. And this took longer than I'd take to make a whole entire wardrobe. It was so fidgety, loads of little bits and loads of details, which I really had to think about to make it all work, give it strength. The main thing was so it didn't sag in the middle. I didn't want to have another piece going across here. So the strength basically is in the top and in the frame underneath. We've got the glass topper on the top now. It's toughened glass. It's 3mm toughened with polished edges. You can see the brass strip all the way through, and you can see the grain of the oak veneer all the way through, which I'm really, really happy about. And everything at the top is made out of oak veneer. The only thing that was made out of different materials were the legs. They were birch ply. Yeah, what do you think? You like it? Yeah, John does. Can you see the grain of the oak? And that's because we used oak veneer, and it's come out really, really nice with the brass strip. So the construction was the most important part. I had to make it in such a way where it didn't sag because it's 1.4 long and it's quite thin as well. We weren't able to use our usual runners, which are the ball bearing runners. They come in at 250. The whole unit was 250. She didn't want to go past 250 wide, which meant we had to use slightly different runners, and they only come out to here. But she's happy with that, and it was a compromise between the depth of the unit and what runners to use. Ultimately, the drawers are still usable, and it's come out really nice. The handles are really given the unit a little bit of bling. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you have, thumbs up, like and subscribe, especially subscribe. Leave a comment as well. That really helps as well. But other than that, I'll see you next Sunday. Take it easy. Ciao.